Welcome to the 9th Annual Faery Fest. There's a few people that I would like to thank specifically who have made this Faery Fest possible, along with about 30-40 other volunteers. But the real creators are Sean Johnson. Hello, Sean. And his partner, Robert Glenn. Glenn Roberts, sorry, Robert, Glenn. Anyway, I want to thank them very much for consistently making this a fabulous festival every year for the last 9 years. Now, allow me to introduce Stephen B. Pearl, whose works span the speculative fiction field. Whether it is a post-apocalyptic wealth threatened by a plague or a Japanese goblin feasting on the people of Toronto, Stephen's work is sure to entertain and make you think. Please welcome Stephen B. Pearl.
Thank you. And can I get a hand of applause for Ratley? I'm going to be reading from Worlds Apart, and this is kind of the mythical setup for how things happen in the book, because it is from two people who are literally from worlds apart. It is also very fairy-oriented, and a neat little story. One day, while minding their flock, a little herder boy and his sister saw a procession of noble folk more fairer than any court in the land. The children stared in wonder as the lords and ladies rode past, until one of the lords hailed them and beckoned them to come near. Knowing his lore, the boy turned his jacket inside out and put it on, and then made his sister do the same before they walked up to the stranger. "Where do you go, my lord, and whither have you come?" asked the boy. "We are the last of what you call the fair folk. I ask that you ride with us now, for we leave this world and will not be seen again. You witness the passing of an age. To Underhill we go, where the wellsprings of magic still run free." "We cannot leave our flock," said the girl. "Rest ye easy, little one. The gateway to Underhill is near, and your flock will be protected by such blessings as we still have to give," said the noble lord of the Sidhe. And so the children rode with the fair folk until they came to an open hill, and they watched as one by one the noble Sidhe passed into a rich and vibrant land. Then the opening in the hillside closed, and despite the brightness of the sun, the world seemed a darker place. Why did the magic go away? Tim lay in his bed with the blankets tucked up under his chin. Alcina closed the children's book of Celtic myth. The magic never went away. It's just most people never bother to look for it. When Mummy does Reiki, she uses it, and when we cast spells or do readings. The gods gave us magic so we can try and fix the things that go wrong and make the world a better place. But it's not like in the Harry Potter books. No, it's not like that. Alcina glanced around the small bedroom with its battered dresser and single bed. Toys and books filled the shelves on most of the walls. If it were, we'd live in a castle like Hogwarts. Tim smiled disarmingly. "Nah, too cold and drafty. I'd live in a houseboat and sail all over the world." "Why did the fair folk leave?" "You know better than to take myths literally, silly. It's all symbolic. Think about what the story is trying to tell us, not just what it says." "All right, Mummy. Why? And don't think your mother is going to be taken in by the question game. It's already past your bedtime." Alcina kissed Tim's brow. "Now go to sleep." Tim smiled, then with a very adult manner shrugged. "Can't blame a guy for trying." Alcina laughed. "You're spending too much time with Bill and Philip." She turned off the light, and as she stepped through the door. "Sleep tight. If you wake up, Chris will be here to look after you." "You too, Mummy. Don't be out too late. You have a bedtime too, you know." Alcina smiled as she closed Tim's door. She examined the apartment. Tim's school bag sat empty by the entry door, and some of his books were in a neat stack on the coffee table. A small stack of comic books sat beside them. Her ritual bag containing her mystical tools lay on the floor. A soft knock sounded, and she checked the peephole before opening the door to reveal Chris. "Thanks, I appreciate this. I'll be back by 10:30, said Alcina. "No problem. I need to study anyway." Chris held up a book on horticulture. Squeezing her friend's arm, Alcina picked up her bag and swept out the door. Minutes later, she climbed from her car at the edge of Staten Moor, where the small stone circle her coven used was located. Throwing the gym bag containing her ritual tools over one shoulder, she lifted a sack containing firewood out of her trunk and walked up the trail towards the circle. Several minutes passed as she made her way, and the night finished closing in. If she hadn't known the trail so well, she never would have risked it in the dark, but she had been coming this way for 6 years. An owl hooted, and the breeze sent a shudder down her spine as she arrived at the wooded area surrounding the circle. Entering the ring of stone, she pulled a small folding brazier from the top of her wood bag and prepared a pile of rowan and birch wood atop it. She then spread her altar cloth on the ground and set out her tools. Sparking a match, she laid it on her dry kindling, which caught, then picked up her athame, the ritual dagger representing the god forces and the power to command. Holding the athame pointed at the ground, she paced the ring of stones 3 times, repeating, "I lay these wards that none ill intent may enter in." When she finished studying the circle, she raised her athame and pointed to the east, scribing a pentacle in the air as she spoke. "I invoke thee, O powers of air, O cunning sylphs, to hold this circle proof against all malignant influences, and to aid me in my rites this night." She moved to the south to invoke the next element. Marcus ignored the signs forbidding carpets in the woods that surrounded the energy node. Marcus is from a parallel Earth. The ring of 9 stones had been too small to be a target during the war, and had thus escaped the destruction visited upon its larger brethren. He brought his carpet to the edge of the stone circle and let it sink to the grass. "You really shouldn't fly so close with your Tim." Marcus jerked around to see a fat, older man in the brown cassock and trews of a university police. "Hi, Jim. You startled me." Jim smiled and moved to the carpet's side. "Another late night? Only time I can get an hour free on the node, with all the students doing graduate work." "I hear you. If this keeps up, it will be running 24/7. Still, I'm going to have to ticket you for flying so close." Marcus stood and opened the crate on the back of his carpet. "Do what you have to, but I wasn't going to lug all this stuff up here by hand." Jim nodded. "Do you want a hand unloading before I get back to my rounds?" "I've got it, thanks." Jim smiled and then sauntered into the trees. Marcus sniffed the air, appreciating the green smell and the cool bite in the early October breeze. "I'd rather have waited for Samhain, but one does what one must." Reaching into his crate, he removed a glowing crystal pyramid and placed it on one of the 9 stones in the circle. Alcina stood, her arms raised to the heavens, and invoked her gods. "I call to thee, O Danu, great mother goddess of the toothed Dana. Be with me, O queen of wizards, O lady of justice, defender of the right. Thee I invoke, O Danu, goddess queen, hail and welcome." She felt inner warmth like a hug that touched the core of her. Mothers understood mothers. Smiling, she continued her rite as the fire behind her crackled and burnt, filling the air with pungent smoke. "Hail, Dagda, come all Father, good God, I call thee, O Lord of life and death. Grant me thy company, O Lord of magic and divination, whose mighty club routs my enemies. Good God of justice, whose commandments are law, thee I do invoke. Be with me, hail and welcome." Alcina felt a tingle along her spine, followed by a lusty zest for life that had been all too lacking in her everyday experience. Sitting cross-legged on the ground, she focused her gaze on the fire and cleared her mind. "Lord and Lady, good spirits all, clear my inner eye and let me see what must be seen. Send me the knowledge I need in this time of trial. Help me, great Lord, gentle Lady, and all good spirits. Help me." She watched the flames, waiting for the visions to come. Marcus stood in the center of the circle, A crystal pyramid glowed atop each of the 9 lady stones, and on the king stone outside the ring. The circle was cast, and Anubis, lord of traveler, and Isis, lady of sorceries, invoked. Marcus checked the contents of his backpack one last time. A spare set of ritual tools that matched the one sitting on his altar in the circle's east, a collection of jewelry for barter, and his ticket home. 14 crystal pyramids, each contained in its own small wooden box and wrapped in silk to insulate them from the energies of the transfer, as well as a small tent and some basic camping gear and dried food. Sighing, he picked up a book that sat on the ground by the altar and read the poem. Fleeing a world where magic was dying, strange foreign wizards did come. Escaping the hatred there was no denying, to stand with Queen Danu they come. Through the fire they strode, their spells glowing golden. The invaders they sent to the sea. Lands their reward from Queen Danu beholden. Battle tide turned by the free. Standing, Marcus took the crook and flail from his altar and gestured around the circle. To different worlds be set my course. By Anubis and Isis the way be cleared. A humming sound filled the circle. Burn. Marcus gestured at a pile of wood on a brazier in the circle's center, and it burst into flames. Wizard Tep, what do you think you are doing? Demanded a voice from outside the ring. And I'll leave it there. Thank you very much.
Worlds apart, a love that spans 2 universes and challenges the forces of bigotry and hate. And please enjoy Stephen's other fine works, available through Amazon. And for more information about Stephen and his works, please visit www.stephenpearl.com. That's www.stephenpearl.com.